it's looking like an aircraft carrier, whatever. You know what I'm saying? They got their armaments and everything like that. But they under our umbrella as far as if anything happens to Japan, we got to go fight for Japan no matter what, right? And I'm telling you this history. And right now, due to, and I'm trying to stick away from, because I know y'all all Trumpers, so I'm trying to just get this straight down the middle. Due to our political stance, you know, about one, we have an umbrella with Japan. We got, you know, a semi-quasi umbrella with Taiwan. We kind of like hold the linchpin. They don't have the offensive capabilities to like just do shit on their own. So everybody basically looks at it and says, all right, what's happening, what Japan said was the US pulling away and not saying it directly, and us using a proxy to say this shit. You know what I mean? Like, of course, China's mad with Japan and shit's heating up. But a lot of the insiders are saying, all right, let's get real here. There's like so many damn bases. We got all our shits over there. You know what I'm saying? And they looked at it and said, if you took America away, what are the Japanese offensive capabilities? Is it plausible that they set this all on their own and saying, yo, we're going to do this all on our own? Or is this a way of the United States saying this without getting ourselves fully involved in that theater? Because if we had said it, it wouldn't just be right now they're moving missiles and shit around. You know what I'm saying? It's not like how China tries to encircle Taiwan. So now we can scroll over. If you just give me Scott, if you could just scroll over a little bit so we can see Taiwan, which is sitting real close to Shanghai, right at a little bit below. So China right there. That little island right there, Taiwan, right? China been encircling that all the time, right? But it's not like they going over to Japan and doing the same things. Had we said some shit like that, what Japan just said to China, shit would be, it would be front page. We couldn't avoid it. We couldn't, the average American couldn't avoid hearing that shit. But since it's a proxy thing, this is just my opinion. Hopefully it'll die down, but shit has amped up. South Korea, they really haven't said anything. The most recent thing that came out of South Korea, and it was real quick, was there was like a coup. There was like somebody tried to do a coup in South Korea, which is kind of unheard of. Imagine the Congress tried to oust the president. You know what I'm saying? You know, that's kind of what happened over there. Was quickly, you know, done for, and they quickly the term was about to end anyway, so they just said, you know what, for stability's sake, and after dude got out, they locked him up and all of that. But South Korea has to be on edge with what's going on. All right. So that's the situation right now. I don't want to this is the first time, so I don't want to get too far into a ton of stuff going on over there, but that's the hot button. I wouldn't suggest talking about it like that if you're at the dinner table on some banquet or some function shit. The only thing I would actually mention, it's hard to even mention China in the holidays. You need to be talking about maybe some Temu shit, or, you know, what do you think about EVs? You know, something like that. You know, light Japan. You know, I wouldn't even talk about the what do you think about a woman being prime minister? Don't talk about that. Don't talk about the skirmish or dust up. The most recent thing you probably could talk about is probably some type of, hey, how's the storms going? You know what I mean? This is the last thing. Oh my God, this is the major thing. Shit's about to get real deep around the world on economics, because everybody depended on Japan to borrow money from. Japan, for about the past 20 years, have had zero interest rates, or sometimes even negative interest rates. Can you imagine that? If I give you $1, I'm borrowing from you, and if I give you $1, you got to give me one shit. I'm borrowing from you, and I have to pay you less than, if I borrowed 100,000 in Japanese yen, the way negative interest rates work, at the end of the day, I may have to just pay you $98. That's the value of the loan. But that shit all broke, or mostly broke. and everybody has to unwind around the world. That's why you were seeing a lot of fluctuation this week in the markets and everything like that. A lot of people would basically borrow in yen, quick foreign exchange, and invest wherever in the world. Japan actually did that. You know what I mean? After they won with the cars and the Toyotas and shit, and damn near bought out America and all of that, and they had to fall back when they had that crash and everything like that. Most of Japan, they use their investments, they invest around the world and use those dividends and cash flows to keep their stuff up. But very recently, to hold their exchange rate value on their yen, it may be like 150 right now, something like that. But they were under heavy pressure for the last 2 years. I watched that shit, man. They had to fight. They do stimulus and everything like that. But the net effect is that they're no longer at zero interest rates. They've pushed up to 1%, and they're probably going to go up. What this means is everybody who was borrowing in yen, thinking they didn't have to owe anything on interest, guess what? That is over with, which has global effects. Now people can't fund. People used to just borrow there and then just go invest everywhere else. Now there's no borrowing center. I'm going to kind of kick that in. The U.S. might be facing something similar to that. We're done with Asia. Let's go over to India because we only got like 12 minutes before we bring this in. So the point of this whole story is don't let nobody tell you, goddammit, you're not supposed to let somebody know when they talking shit about you, because that ain't what's happening in the world. All right, there we go, right there. Pakistan, India. All right, here we go. Over the past, I would say, month and a half, Pakistan and India went to war. I don't want to say war. They called it a war, but it was a skirmish. So they've really been heating up a lot. India is really in tough, and I'm not even talking about, I know everything going on here in America. So what India has always done, let's get to India's past, right? India's huge history country, China, huge history country, Japanese, everything like that. The British totally fucked them over. You know what I'm saying? Robbed them, killed damn near 100 million, everything like that. And they're finally getting back on course. The more peace anybody has, I don't care, more peace anybody has, the more they're going to advance. So you have to kind of look at skirmishes and wars as a way to slow people down, because that's kind of what it does, and countries kind of do that. But now what's going on, let's get to they're nuclear armed, Pakistan nuclear armed. Pakistan was the first, and then India tested it under Clinton, and they test two different types to let them know we ain't playing no games. So India's nuclear armed. They don't really have a great navy. They're working on it due to the threats that they perceive from China, because they have a border with China somewhere along there. You see Nepal, I forget. They always into it with China too. Not into it, but you know. And the crazy thing is they're both part of BRICS, right? Brazil, Russia, India, China. Is that South Africa? But anybody who really knows is like, yo, how effective on a monetary union? Because every time, they're gonna have one currency. That shit is not about to happen, because India and China always, they got their differences. However, if India, China, and Russia actually weren't, man, it'd be a powerhouse. That'd be tough for us. So let's not even put that shit out there in the air like that. So what recently happened was that there was an air war, and an attack. There was a terrorist attack in a part of northwest, kind of close to Pakistan, on a resort town, right? Because they already got their little skirmish over this little park called Kashmir, but it was real deal, and some way, somehow, or whatever the hell. It got to the Air Force's scramble, and China has already armed Pakistan with their long-range air-to-air missile. India has their version of their air, I think it's Varian some shit, air-to-air missile or whatever. And Pakistan is using very older versions of a Chinese jet. The Indians were using their jet, the Tejas. Well, something happened this week too with, I'm going to mention that, and a French Rafale jet. Now, in all of these skirmishes, nobody crossed lines. Nobody went into each other's territory. So this was basically a beyond visual sight air battle. And a couple of French Rafales got knocked out. I think that's Raphael or Dassault. One of them. The French plane got knocked out. A couple of them got knocked out. Pakistan really didn't have many losses or whatever. And so they were held as Pakistan, Pakistan didn't really say that much, but India's like, yo, man, you know what I'm saying? This, that, and the other. So they're reassessing everything. But also they're dealing with this trade war going on with the United States. Contrary to what anybody believes, the heaviest part of the tariff war right now is going on with India. Of course, we know about the H-1Bs, the rise in, anti-Indian sentiment, different things like that. And what we're trying to do is firmly pull them into our United States sphere. Right now, they still get their oil from Russia. They have ties both with what we call the East and the West. I don't know why it's called that, because it's, and what's going on politically is trying to get them firmly more on our side, and probably buy our damn jets. F-35, we're about to get to this shit real deal. And they got a good Prime Minister, Modi. I like Modi and everything like that, but this is probably the toughest time he has in his life right now. And since we have it right here, we're going to flip over to Pakistan. Now, Pakistan is a gateway, as you can see, to get right over to the Middle East. You see Oman, you see the United Arab Emirates. So what China has done is they've effectively invested all the way through Pakistan, from where Nanjing, you see that little mountain area, they drilled through some shit, got a train line going through there, threw a lot of billions into saying, yo, you got these natural resources, gave them good terms so that they'll always be an ally, all this other different type of shit. But you have to understand that they are the only Muslim country with a nuclear weapon. And so when I saw certain things happen with Pakistan, especially that skirmish with India, I kind of knew, like, all right, they're about to do something to Iran. Okay, see, Pakistan right next to Iran. Key thing with Iran, you see how that terrain looks? All goddamn mountains. So this whole thing about a fucking invasion and all this other type, get that shit out your head. And then on top of that, I'm about to show you another reason why. All right. So Pakistan, what China's looking for is to basically say, all right, the easiest way for me to get the energy that China needs, because it's a billion fucking people, they need all this energy,